Okay, so there was a mistake on the notes. This should actually be a 2. Okay, so this is a simple fix. So you're just going to change everything here to a 2. And this right here will become a -1. Okay, if I just confused you, then I want you to go back and redo this one by changing it to =2 instead of 1. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to graph this equation starting at -1 on the y-axis and graphing a positive 1/2 slope. And I just found my intersection. And the solution to this system is 4, 1. Okay. All right, we are going to go ahead and move back to the next page, or go to the next page and do example 4. So again, I need to put these in slope-intercept form. You'll notice that the equations get a little bit more complicated, or challenging, I should say. It's not complicated. And again, I'm going to go a little bit quicker. So if you need to pause and work and then watch me do it, then you can do that on the video. Right, so the solution to this one is 8, -2. All right. Hopefully you were able to see all that. Sometimes I get out of my screen. Okay, let's go to example 5. This one's set up a little differently, but sometimes you'll see equations set up equal to 0, but that doesn't mean that you still can't solve it the same way. It just looks a little bit different. So your goal here is to get your x and -2 over, because you want to put these equations into slope-intercept form. Now, I typically do them at the same time, but if that confuses you, then just do one step at a time. So I'm going to move my x and my 2 over by subtracting x and adding 2. And when I do that, I get -x plus 2 on this side. So I end up with 2y equals -x plus 2. And then I divide everything by 2. Okay. So let's plot that. A lot of these are the same. Okay, now I'm going to do my next equation. So I'm going to subtract 3x and subtract 8 from both sides. And we end up with -y equals -3x minus 8. Now remember, we can't have a -y. This time I'll multiply everything by -1 just so you could see the difference between dividing and multiplying. Multiplying is actually a little bit simpler. So this just becomes y equals 3x plus 8. Okay. So I will go ahead and plot my y-intercept at 8 And then I have a slope of a +3. And I can't go up because I don't have enough space. So I'm going to go down and to the left, and it creates a positive slope. And a lot of students get confused. They think that if you're going down, you're creating a negative slope, but that's not true all the time. Okay, so here my solution is -2, 2. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and move to the last page. These two are a little different. So if you went ahead and you're like, oh, I don't know what happened on these two. If you remember what I discussed on the first page up here, one solution, infinite number of solutions and no solution, then you may have figured it out. So far, all we've done are consistent, independent, one solution problems. Okay, the next two, they're going to be one of these. So let's look at example 6. Again, putting these into slope-intercept form. And we're left with a -y, and that equals -2x + 4. And we're going to multiply everything by -1 to get rid of that -1y. And every time I hear someone say, oh, we're just switching all the signs by multiplying it or dividing it by -1, and that is true. Okay, so let's graph this one. All right, now we're going to change this one. So add 2x. And we end up with y equals 2x + 3. Now, a lot of you will get to this point and say, oh, since our slopes are the same, we're going to have parallel lines. So I know the answer already. Yes, you do know the answer, and that's great if you can figure that out without graphing it. I still want you to graph the line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph my line. I do plot a lot of points too. You don't have to plot that many. Sometimes I plot a lot of points just to make sure that at some point they'll intersect. Okay, now if you remember from the front, I'll flip back over there again. Anytime your lines are parallel, there is no solution. Why? Because those lines will never intersect. Okay, so we'll just put no solution here. All right. Okay, let's go to the last one. Go ahead and put both of these into slope-intercept form. Okay, at this point, I could tell they're the exact same line. So when they're the exact same line, the only thing I do is I like put another arrow here just to indicate that I know that they're the same line. And if you go to the front, infinite many solutions is when you have them both as the same line. Okay, so we will put infinite solutions. Okay. And that concludes lesson 5.1.